With the closure of Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter services announced for the date of February 27th of 2027, many people are scrambling to transfer their Pokemon out from previous generations into home where they can be safe. But my goals aren't Pokemon Home, and that's not the goals of this video at all. If you are looking for anything talking about Pokemon Home, this is not it. But you might want to stick around because I think this is going to be worth your while. I'm going to be talking about the specific content within games that we miss out on and what you can do right now to get them, or what really there is for you to go get. Like, first things first, we got to ask the hard-hitting question. What exactly do we lose out on? Because it depends. Like, for one, obviously you lose transfer functionality, but that's such a blanket statement and frankly unhelpful. Since again, we're diving into the realm of specific content within the games that you miss out on, I'm gonna guideline this by saying, across these games, we're gonna try to find content within the following categories: Pokemon and or their abilities, text or dialogue, and items/unlockables. As a heads up, some stuff that will not be touched on includes transfer moves, arbitrary code execution, Pokeball legality, and shiny hunts, as well as home. Evolutionary lines are all going to be represented by a single Pokemon, and we've got a short deadline, and that is what is influencing what I'm omitting. Also, I personally think a lot of people make videos on certain stuff way better than I ever could and have hashed over it and talked about it way more in depth than I care to. Right off the bat, anything pre-transporter is safe to pay no attention. Boom, get that bitch out of here. Matter of fact, we're able to drop these games here too because they only have save data exclusive content that has nothing to do with the save data of the 3DS game. Sick nasty, this is what's left. Immediately starting with Gen 6, we're fortunate enough that you can actually complete a living dex, barring Mythicals, by having the 4 games trade with each other. That being said, there's still some unobtainable Pokemon that are possible to get before the closure of transfer services. Most of these are Mythicals, as you can probably see, but there's a few oddballs that I'll go over. These Pokemon right here may be obtainable within Gen 6 just fine, but their hidden abilities are not. Their hidden ability variants are what makes them lost content if not transferred in prior to bank closure. You have to remember, there is no ability patch prior to Gen 8, so the only way you can get the hidden abilities is by having one already. If you at least just have one, you can always breed for more after the closure, which is why it's recommended you pick these up as an additional act of future-proofing. Obviously, you can't do this with legendaries, which makes them more so a novelty because besides the Genie trio, the box art legends can't even be used within battle facilities. With that out the way, I'll be going over how and where you can hunt them down. The only way to obtain a hidden ability Snorlax, Cranidos, and Shieldon is via Black 2 or White 2, and it's not exactly simple either. You have to complete a lengthy side quest in order to trade with a special NPC named Yancey or Curtis. The person you get depends on the gender you picked for your save file, and since you can't have both on one save, you'll need to have 2 different saves playing as a different gender in order to unlock them both. For those of you that haven't completed the side quest, I'm going to recommend you scroll down into the description where I have a link to the side quest on Cerebi. It explains how to get it and all that jazz. Now that we're done, let's go on to the next portion, which is going to be Watchog. A hidden ability Watchog can only be found on Black 2, White 2 currently with Hidden Grotto. All you really need to know is that every 256 steps, there's a 5% chance for something to appear within the grotto and a 95% chance for absolutely nothing to happen. If the 5% chance is rolled, there is a 15% chance in Route 2 and a 4% chance in Route 7's Hidden Grotto for Watchog to appear. Now, my advice is that you can farm encounters passively by making your way to Nimbasa City and going into the battle station. From there, you can just slip a coin under your circle pad and it'll make you run endlessly. Check every hour for Watchog and then rinse and repeat. Do know that there is a chance for there to be a hidden item in Hidden Grottos, and you need to collect them in order to free space for a Pokemon to spawn. Now, next up are basically just Mythicals and Legendaries. The Legendaries, as of today, can only have their hidden abilities obtainable in Gen 6 with the help of Pokemon Dream Radar. If you have it, you know what it is. If you don't, honestly, just skip to the next chapter. For those of you that did buy this application prior to the eShop closure, your life is pretty simple. All you need to do is just play and progress through the game normally until you catch all 3 genies. From there, this will give you the ability to unlock access to the Gen 4 box mascots, which of course have their hidden abilities to pair with. Some quick advice I have to give is maybe just come back to the game in like an hour or two when your Dream Cloud meter runs low. And while you wait, go ahead and knock out some of the other stuff in this PSA, such as the mons that are going to get hunted down in Generation 7 later on in this video. Now, the Mythicals you see here can all be obtained via the Gen 4 and 5 alt Wi-Fi connection servers. These servers don't require any custom firmware at all to use, and I'll link below how to set up gaining access to them. With the help of the alt Wi-Fi connection servers, you can gain access to all these Mythicals via mystery gift. Some Pokemon also have alternate methods as well, should you want to pursue them. For Mew, you can use My Pokemon Ranch by depositing 999 Pokemon in order to get a traded Mew by Haley. For Celebi, all you would need is just a Japanese Pokemon Coliseum that has purified all 48 Shadow Pokemon, and then you would also need to own a Japanese Coliseum bonus disc. On top of that, just have a regular copy of Ruby or Sapphire that has beaten the Elite Four, and from there you'll be able to transfer Celebi normally. Jirachi is going to be a lot more simpler, only requiring either the US Coliseum bonus disc itself or a copy of Pokemon Channel to transfer over to a copy of, again, only Ruby or Sapphire. For Manaphy, you have the alternate option of going through Pokemon Ranger and completing the mission that allows you to transfer a Manaphy egg to your Gen 4 game of choice. And with that, we're finally done with the Pokemon category of transfer content. Next up is going to be text/dialogue, of which I can only find 3 examples. In XY and Auras, there's 2 respective NPCs in the region that will give you items such as the Gracidia and the Genesect drives if you show a Shaman and Genesect. And please do note, again, what makes these transfer content is that Genesect and Shaman can only be obtained right now as of today via the DNS exploit, which requires the use of Pokemon Transporter, meaning this is, again, we're going to lose this service. So if you don't do it before February 27th, you just miss out on these 2 items. Again, if you are looking for where to find these NPCs, you can always just look them up online. That's my best advice. We're going to try to keep this video short. Google search how to get Gracidia and fucking, I don't know, Pokemon XY, how do I get it in Auras type shit. The last example I could find of, transfer content exclusive from previous generations going into Generation 6 would be the Time Travel Award. For those of you that don't know what the Time Travel Award is, you're going to want to fly over to Lily Cove City and then make your way to the aptly named Cove Lily Motel. From there, you want to go to the 2nd floor, which is where you'll find the Game Freak staff. Specifically, you want to talk to the game director and have a Pokemon from RSC in the first slot of your party. He'll take notice of the feat and award you with the Time Travel Award certificate, which also functions as a base decoration. I personally think this is a very important unlock because you would have a forever incomplete set of base decorations if you were to try to obtain them all. If you want to future-proof even more, you could always, just transfer as many different Pokemon as you want so you can change the picture of the award for your base. But I recommend sticking to one for time's sake and picking something sentimental or impressive like a starter or a shiny or a niche catch. And I say shiny because it is in fact shiny sensitive and nickname sensitive, meaning if you bring in a Pokemon like Poochyena and you nickname it Buttface, the certificate is going to read Buttface for the Pokemon's name. Anyways, moving forward, we're in Gen 7 now. And with the release of Gen 1 and 2 VC and the whole 25th anniversary, there's actually a lot of content to unpack compared to before. Starting with Pokemon again, we actually have a sizable amount here. On screen are the Pokemon that have either themselves or elements of themselves missing in Gen 7, such as their hidden ability, yet are still obtainable with the help of transfer services. Because of the amount, I'm going to be dividing these Pokemon by their method of attainment. Starting with the easiest, it's definitely Pokemon that have no hidden ability or Pokemon with hidden abilities that are no longer obtainable. This can mostly be blamed on the death of Dreamworld or limited time events that are no longer active. Something additional to note is that if you already use a save file to get all the Gen 4 and 5 mystery gift mons in distribution, you'll need to start a save file or use a spare copy in order to get a second one, since I'm going to assume you're keeping those mons in Gen 6. Just repeat what you had on a different save file. So now we can just get rid of the DNS exploit mons on screen. And here is what's left. Something to note, you might have noticed that, Celebi and Deoxys were Pokemon in Gen 6 that were exclusive to the DNS exploit, but no longer are, because now we can grab a Deoxys from Generation 6 to bring into Generation 7, and we can also grab a Celebi from Pokemon Crystal Virtual Console. As you can see, next up is Dex Nav. All you really need to know is that this is your best friend. This is like the most, I think, fun method of hunting down Pokemon with their hidden abilities. 2, what makes it so nice is that once you've already found the Pokemon at least once, you can always search for it, and specifically it. You don't have to go running in the grass hoping that you get like a 5% chance to bump to the Pokemon or whatever. You will grab it every single time. It'll pop up into the rustling grass or rustling cave or rustling water, whatever it may be. Now, just do know that you cannot get a Pokemon with its hidden ability until at least after 10 encounters. So you're gonna have to farm up your encounters. They do not have to be consecutive. And what's really, really nice about Dex Nav is that actually in the bottom right, it will have an exclamation point where it says ability to tell you that it's the hidden ability version of that Pokemon, which makes it easy. You just go interact with it and then go catch it. Super, super easy. Gotta love Dex Nav. Now, next up, we're going to be talking about Friend Safaris. So many of you are probably curious, why I might mention Friend Safari, considering the 3DS Nintendo Wi-Fi servers are shut down. And while you're right about that, you actually can still add friends, albeit just locally. That sounds all good, but in reality, the rolling of Friend Safari is honestly pretty brutal. You'll need 2 copies of X or Y, and from there on a spare 3DS, you're going to factory reset and go about the process of clicking through the initial startup. After you finish gunning through the setting portion, immediately go to Me Maker and create a Me. When you're done, press home, then create a friend card. Once you're done and creating your friend card, you can go ahead and prepare your main system to register your alt system as a friend locally. Then enter both Kalos games on both systems. From here, you want to divert your attention on your main system. Check the Friend Safari and scout what Pokemon you unlocked. You're going to have to rinse and repeat until you roll all the Friend Safaris you need in this list. There's no better way, but I can at least impart a few tips from my own experiences. It's generally faster if you skip the Me and creating friend card and checking Friend Safari thing every second factory reset. The second factory reset will always be a carbon copy of the previous reset. Meaning if you saw something you didn't want on the first one, you sure as hell aren't going to see anything new on the second. Only in the third will the RNG actually not duplicate and produce a result with the potential to be different from your first reset. Also make sure that your friend is highlighted and not grayed out. If they're grayed out, you won't be able to see your third slot. And Safaris also don't dish out hidden abilities unless you've unlocked a third slot. So for Pokemon like Ferroseed, where you may not actually have Pokemon you're looking for that come from the third slot, it's still in your best interest to unlock it. Speaking of Ferroseed, Ferroseed only has 1 ability, but has the capacity for a hidden ability when evolved into Ferrothorn. What you'll need to do is catch a Ferroseed and then check by evolving it if you got the hidden ability roll or not. I'm going to link the Friend Safari page for you to pull up down below. Just another thing too is that don't go for like Friend Safaris that you've already finished out. I'll give you an example of one that isn't even gonna pop out, but like Dragon. If I get Friend Safari Dragon, I don't even have to go into the Friend Safari to check. I just know by looking that it's Dragon that it's not gonna have any Pokemon on this list. So let's say you finish all the Fire Pokemon on your Friend Safari. When you reset and you see Fire, just reset immediately because you know you're not gonna get anything that you need. Unless you want to roll for other shit, I guess. Next up, Virtual Console Pokemon. I'm not going to be really guiding you through where to find these, but here's the list as you can see. What I am going to do is recommend in the description again, Lyra has made an extremely comprehensive and user-friendly website for all your Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon catching needs. Go there. That is really like what you need to do. Now for Hordes, the list of Horde Pokemon is actually comedically small when compared to the list of Virtual Console Pokemon. But that's mostly attributed to the fact that any other Pokemon that can be obtained via Hordes in X, Y, and Auras had an overlap of Dex Nav. Off the bat, all you really need to do is go to the respective locations and either use the honey item while standing in a patch of grass, or bring a Pokemon with the move Sweet Scent and use it in the overworld. The only tip I really have to give is don't go around trying to brute force Hordes without either the two methods mentioned. If the area you're in has rain, it's just not going to work. Pokemon Dream Radar. Eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed the Dream Radar exclusive list whittled down a bit compared to Gen 6 portion of the video. This is due to the fact that you get the Gen 2 legendaries transferred up from Virtual Console. So for those of you that grabbed them for Gen 6 already, you'll need to delete the software and then re-download it to wipe your save data for Dream Radar. Like, progress through the game to the point where you can unlock all 6 and then transfer the legendaries to a copy of Black 2 White 2 that hasn't received them yet. Now, next up is going to be the trades. And I talk about this already in the Gen 6 portion of the video, but I will say this. My biggest advice, if you already put in the work in Black 2 and White 2 to get Granitas and Shieldon in Generation 6, don't do it all over again. Just go to Generation 6 where you transferred it up and breed them, make them have babies, and then you get the breeded Granitas and Shieldon and you transfer it up to Gen 7. That's all you need to do. It's going to save you a lot of fucking time. And another mention is going to be special demo Ash Greninja. Just play through the special demo and have Kukui send the Ash Greninja to your Gen 7 game. Do note, this is the only way to get a Battle Bond Greninja and or see the Ash Greninja transformation form. Now we are finally done with that boring Pokemon shit. Moving on to text/dialogue, there's a couple of nice Easter eggs spread throughout the region. Within Hia City in Akala Island, one of the Game Freak employees has different dialogue when shown a Pokemon originating from Gen 1 and 2. When shown a Gen 1 Pokemon, the employee will reminisce on the development cycle and praise the late Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata on his coding and how it saved the games from a storage bottleneck they were struggling with. If you show him a Gen 2 Pokemon, you'll receive some Apra Balls as well. Something you may have not known, because it's actually incredibly under the radar, is that the Alola Photo Club actually has some content that will no longer be obtainable as well. The Photo Club allows you to take pictures and has a wide variety of customization options to choose from. If you ever felt like you wanted to unlock every option, the game asks of you to take pictures at various locations around the region to unlock different backdrops that correspond to said location. However, most of you probably didn't know that you can actually unlock additional backdrops based off of previous regions when transferring in Pokemon with origins to pair. Of the Generation 8 games, only BDSP has notably one instance of transfer-exclusive content tied to Pokemon Bank/Transporter, that being the BDSP Time Travel Award. You might have remembered Auras had one earlier, but many people missed the fact that Gen 8 has one as well. You can't really do much with it, but screenshot it and admire the Gen 4 sprite. But if you go ahead and talk to the game director in the northwestmost building in the Hotel Grand Lake, he'll take notice when you show him a Pokemon originating from Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. And that's all I could find. Some honorable mentions is the Ribbon Master Challenge, actually. Now, this technically applies to all games that have transfer-only ribbons in them. If you bring in all the ones that are obtainable as of right now, doesn't have to be technically on one single Pokemon, you'll have access to a plethora of images and descriptions of ribbons that would otherwise go unused in your save file. Especially so in the new games, where you'll miss out on titles that a Pokemon will display when thrown into battle. If you're interested in ribbon mastering a Pokemon, visit the Ribbon Master Discord for help. Just tell them you came from me. What's it called? Watchog. Watchog. Hidden ability Watchog. You can't get it in Gen 7 either. So just breed the one that you caught in Gen 5 and transfer it into Gen 6. Just breed that. Just breed that and make another copy and put it in Gen 7.